Well, kids are back to school, and that means so are germs. And
now,
Lexi
Horvath spoke with a pharmacist on how to keep your kids healthy during the school season. Let's take a listen.
When you start back to school, you see colds and coughs and strep throat and stomach bugs.
Keeping kids healthy and safe is a top priority.
Each one of our schools has a nurse available in the school.
As students have made their way back to the classrooms.
We really try to make sure we're doing mitigating factors like good hand washing, keeping kids home when they have fever.
Pharmacist Phil Smith is reminding parents the importance of washing hands.
It's hard to teach a kid not to touch his face with his hands all day, but that's a good rule of thumb as well.
And while he says he has yet to see an uptick in contagious diseases, he knows it's coming.
I'm assuming in September, once kids have been there for a little while.
But until then,
stomach bug is around again, and strep throat will be on the rise as well.
According to the Tennessee Department of Health, Hamilton County has seen an average of 25 new COVID cases a day in the past month.
The numbers still are high.
Looking at one particular problem.
There's just no testing anymore.
With protocols in place at school and at home.
Keeping those same protocols at home, right? Washing your hands, staying healthy, getting good sleep.
But currently within Hamilton County schools,
we're not seeing anything like that in our schools right now.
So if your child does come down with a sickness,
we may take their temperature and see if they are running a fever. And if they are, we follow our policy to have the students stay home until they're fever free.
So Lexi Horvath joins us now. Lexi, this is a really interesting look at, like you said, once you are back to school, there's, the families start to see more sicknesses that the kids are bringing home.
Exactly. And how I started it is classrooms are like a petri dish of germs. Oh. I mean, it is just 20 kids in that classroom all together. Mm-hmm. And the pharmacy I spoke with earlier, they did mention that right now there is going to be an uptick in colds, coughs, strep throat, stomach bugs. That's kind of the common start to the school year, but our focus is really going to be when the flu season starts to pick up, even with COVID cases starting to rise. That's when parents really want to start keeping an eye on their kids, making sure all the protocols at school are taking place at home, whether it's washing your hands, whether it's getting a good night's sleep, staying hydrated, everything that they can do to make sure their kids are not getting sick, surrounded by all these students all day long.
Mm-hmm. Especially like we saw in that story there, a big topic I think to think about is the hands in the mouth.
Exactly.
Because it's easy for little kids to touch their desk, play with another student, and then they put their hands in their mouth, whether that be just them putting their hands in their mouth or eating, washing your hands before you eat. So that's something that's super important. And again, this is a really exciting time for students to be back to school, but they've been home. It's been summer. Their immune systems have been a little more on the offense, I guess, than the defense.
Exactly.
So they're getting back into the swing of things now with this.
And it is interesting when you look at COVID cases and now the flu season. A lot of health professionals are basically saying, the flu and COVID season are going to continue to be kind of mixed.
Right.
And so a lot of the COVID protocols, that were really strict during the heat of the pandemic have kind of loosened, and like we heard there, 24 hours without a fever, you're free to come back to class.
Exactly. And a lot of it is about the testing right now. As the pharmacist said, there's not a lot of testing going on. You get sick, it's a cold, you go home, and then you come right back to school. And at the moment, Hamilton County School District, they told me they're not seeing an uptick yet, because students just came back about a week, 2 weeks ago. So they're really expecting around September time is when those numbers are going to start to roll in. Right now, all the germs are coming in. It's going to take some time in the bodies. And then around September is really when you start wanting to keep an eye on your child for those to start picking up.
Yeah, and not even just keeping an eye on the children, the parents as well. I mean, these children are coming back home to their parents with these germs. So I'm sure for parents to keep an eye out as well on how they're feeling and to check in with their bodies.
And teachers, parents and teachers, they're both surrounded by the germs.
Yeah.